Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're back for a special Christmas edition of Hammertime, and with us today is Hummer Elf as well. So, anyways, what are you doing for Christmas? Anything special?
No, spending time with the family and friends and
Me too.
her too,
Yeah.
and yours truly, Pete.
Yeah.
What you call it? I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I want to wish people in the New Year they get all their wishes come true. And I believe this year is going to be the year of peace, a year of justice, and the end to poverty in Ontario.
Yeah. Now, I heard you're wishing for a Green Party majority.
No, that's not the reality. The reality is people are starting to realize that conservatives and liberal conservatives like Dalton McHarris and David Arzetti, they're like blue and blue light, and they showed it in the dark of night at Christmas time, paying themselves $27,000 raise, 31% increase in their pay. Meanwhile, people are in minimum wage, no justice. People on Ontario disability pension, no justice, and people on welfare, no justice. And that's good public policy.
Sure.
What they did.
How much is David Orzetti going to be making now?
Unjust.
How much is David Orzetti going to be?
I believe he was making $88,000 or something.
What will he be making now?
I believe over 100 something. I'm not sure about the amount.
What does Tony make?
I believe 147.
Okay, but isn't that still more than what David will be making with the raise?
No, but that's not the issue. That's a false debate. We're having a false debate between the wealthy and the wealthy. We should be talking about good public policy, about helping the least in our society.
Okay.
The people on Ontario disability pension, people on minimum wage, they've been gone for 8 years. They didn't have a raise, and now the people that are supporting Orzetti are using that argument. Oh, they haven't been paid for a long time. But that's a bogus argument. It's a faulty thinking argument because they're not talking about the real issues. That's why people go into government is because they want to do the greater good for the greater good of the collective good. And I'll say one thing: if I do run for the NDP, I will not take the raise. I will not take the raise.
But what about Tony?
That you have to talk to Tony about that. Yeah. But for me, if I do run, I will not take the raise because I walk the talk and talk the walk. And like Jeff Broadbent said last night in the Sioux Star, in the editorial, a fine editorial, he was dead on with his, editorial. And I think Mr. Orzetti, he's not fooling the Sioux folks.
Well, why doesn't Tony give some of his paycheck back? He makes a lot more than Dave does.
You know what? You have to ask Tony.
Okay, but why not, why don't people, I mean, I do find it funny that the NDP would raise questions about this raise for MPP, and I have to say, I'm not a liberal, but I think David's been excellent for the city in terms of funding.
No,
I never hear anything about Tony.
No, he hasn't, because since they've been in power, they brought in the health tax, they cut back on services like chiropractor, eye doctor, and physiotherapist. Over 6,000 jobs are being lost because of the privatization of hydro, and people are still losing their jobs, manufacturing jobs, because of their failed Mike Harris policies.
But hold on a sec.
No, they just continue the conservative policies.
No, wait a second. If you're talking about healthcare cuts, they continued the NDP policies. Wasn't it Bob Ray that cut? Wasn't it? And Tony was in during that time, right?
It was Michael Wilson and Brian Mulroney during the worst recession of our times, to the 30s, and the thing is, these guys slashed and burned transfer payments to no end. So with the NDP government of the day, they did the best they could under the circumstances. And Brian Mulroney and Michael Wilson, where were they? They were with their corporate Bay Street pals. And Bob Ray's Minister of Finance, Mr. Logren, always called on to these guys to help us with the transfer payments. But guess what? They didn't. So these
but how
guys
come?
are good.
Well, hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. I mean, Bob Ray had money to spend on all sorts of social programs. Why did he have to cut back on medical school?
At the time,
you know,
At the time, he got information from his bureaucrats or whatever, stating that time he was told that they didn't need the monies for medical. 2020 hindsight is, pretty good. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is,
he cut the program. No. He made the cuts.
Brian Mulroney and Michael Wilson cut the transfers to healthcare. So if those cuts weren't made, guess what? We won't be talking about Ballbray. So, but people don't want to talk. But when it comes to the NDP, they go 20 years. Well, it's the NDP's fault. But when we talk about the Liberals and their scandalous sponsorship stuff, the media says, "Oh, that's old news."
Well, hold on a sec.
When it comes to the NDP, let's
remember.
remember.
Who propped up the Liberals during? You're talking Liberal scandals. The Tories and the Bloc tried to bring an end to it, but someone propped up the Liberals. Who was that?
No, the what you call it, the people elected a minority government, and they didn't want to have another election because the majority of people, they did a poll, people went back to their writings that a month during Christmas time, and 80-90% didn't want the election. And so Jack said, you know what, we're going to get back to work, and we're going to bring in a budget, and we're going to reverse.
So in other words, he propped up Liberal corruption.
No.
Oh, yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
This was all coming out, and Jack Layton.
You're misrepresenting what I'm saying.
No, he propped it up because he wanted to force through same-sex marriage.
The fact was, they went back to their writings in the Christmas break, and the majority of MPs that came back, they heard from their constituency, and they said they didn't want another election. They wanted the members to get back to work, and that's what Jack Layton did. And the only people that didn't like it was Ralph Goodale. He's the one who brought in the $6.4 billion tax giveaway to the corporation.
So he propped up the Liberals.
No, the NDP fought for ordinary people like me and you, and got money for transportation, for the education system, the environment. And we turned the budget around, and it was an NDP budget, first NDP budget ever. And the thing is, it was for the people. So Liberals and Conservatives are like blue and blue light. It doesn't matter if it's municipal, federal, provincial. They're the same. And they're out to destroy our social programs. And that's why we need the NDP. And then because of the NDP, we have social programs today, like Medicare, unemployment insurance. And because of the NDP, we're enjoying the stuff we have today. And these parties want to destroy it. So in the next election, I see
how come the NDP's polls are going down and the Green Party's going up?
Polls are like a snapshot of the day, and the real poll that counts is on election day. Because
but hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. On the last on by-election day, the NDP came in fourth. They got massacred.
That's one election. That's a by-election.
Yeah, but the point is they got massacred.
That's just one election. We don't know what happened in that writing.
Well, what happened was the NDP resorted to dirty politics against the Green Party.
They were talking about the concerns of the people and the environment, health.
Well, if they were talking about the concerns, how come the people didn't vote? How come they voted Green?
People call that negative. Then I don't believe that's so, because when you talk about issues that are important to people and helping people get into services, and that's negative, because the right-wing press will call something that is positive from the NDP negative. When Tommy Douglas about Medicare, or during that time, he said, oh, Medicare, that's a negative statement, that's negative. What was negative about? Nothing. It helped people. And that's why we have Medicare today. Not because, in spite of the right-wing media. Right-wing media, they talk about liberals and conservatives all the time, because it's almost like watching an infomercial when I watch Don Newman. And
is the Toronto Star the right-wing media?
Yeah, they're right-wing. They support the liberals.
What about the CBC? Is that right-wing media?
Yeah, it is, because Don Newman, that's all he talks about is Dion and the conservatives. And you know what I mean? He has a choice of talking about the other parties, but they don't. Because they're a bunch of right-wingers, and they're owned by right-wingers, and that's why people...
why is the Green Party getting more attention than the NDP?
No, I don't think they're getting more attention, or not, because I think they're getting the same as the NDP.
Oh, there's Hammertime.
So,
here, turn around, let's see your reindeer. Woohoo! There we go, reindeer antlers.